So, today I wanted to talk about the power of faith. There's not much to say about this, just a thought I had, but still. So, I've separated this, let's say, subject I've separated it in three different stages. Like, number one is the power of thought, then the power of belief, and then the power of faith. It's all very simple. Number one, the power of thought, right? Maybe you have examples of your own about this certain phenomena, right? One of them is simply, you know, okay, before we get to the examples, right? Let's talk about it a bit. What do I mean? The power of thought. Essentially, the more you think about something, the more it affects your reality. Very simple, and it should be pretty simple to understand. Now let's get to the examples. Okay, so, very simple example. If you always think that you're depressed, you're gonna become depressed. As simple as that. If you constantly think, oh, this sucks, you know, not even if you think, oh, I'm depressed, if you constantly think like a depressed person, and this, by the way, is also a lesson, I guess, you're going to become depressed. There's no other, you know, possibility. If you're constantly having negative thoughts, guess what's gonna happen in your reality? It's very, very simple. Another example would be, um, yeah, a girl. Okay, I'm obviously assuming you're male. I'm male, right? And I like women because being gay is kind of gay, right? So, when you have a good impression of a female, if you keep thinking about her, you could reach a stage where you like them. Simply because you just keep thinking and thinking about them. You know, if you're constantly thinking about a girl, it's going to affect you, whether you want it or not. You give power to that person over you. To give you an example of what that could be, let's say you don't like washing the dishes, right? It's not that you hate it, but you don't like doing it. It's boring, it's not a man's job, or whatever, right? Now, the girl that you kept thinking for 3 days straight comes in the, I don't know, classroom, whatever, where you have to wash dishes, and it's her turn, and she's like, hey, can you wash the dishes for me because my hands hurt? Are you gonna say no? Nah, you usually wouldn't want to do it. You don't have to do it, but still to help her, you would. That is a very, very simple example, right? That's not a bad thing, but that person has power over you, maybe without even knowing, simply because you thought about them enough. That's just how, you know, the power of thought works. These are two very, very simple examples, yet they could be really, really familiar for you. So, that's the power of thought. The next step is the power of belief. And this is very, very interesting because, like, think about it. If just thinking about something can actually influence your reality, what could believing that something's true or believing that something exists, how would that affect your reality? What would that do? The power of belief, my friends. So, a very, very simple example of how actually crazy this could be is witches. In the past, people were made to believe that witches were a real thing. and they were dangerous, and you have to burn them. You have to get rid of them. You know? That's fucking crazy. Yet, since enough people believed in it, women actually died miserably. And that is absolutely insane. It's crazy, right? But that happened. And there's even crazier shit that happened in the past when people didn't have a clue about science, for example, right? And they kept believing in random ass gods. A very, very common thing in the past would be doing rituals, like especially about, let's say, villages that depended on agriculture, right? On plants, on meal to eat. They would do rituals so rain comes, if rain didn't come, or generally, just to be sure, I don't know, right? And those rituals could be harmless, just as the whole village hanging around and dancing, or they could include literal sacrifices, whether that is innocent children, virgins, because innocence played a huge role in rituals, right? And that is also crazy by today's standards, that we know so many more things than them. Still, that's just examples, real life examples of how believing something could directly influence the actual reality, and not just your reality, right? How then could, like, okay, that's the power of belief. That is fucking insane. Okay. What the fuck could happen with the power of faith? If the power of thought directly influences your own reality, if the power of belief can influence the actual reality, our world, let's say, our mortal reality, then the next step is that the power of faith could influence the immortal reality. Obviously, when I say mortal and immortal, I did the challenge, right? When I say mortal and immortal, I don't mean them directly, like, I don't mean them literally. Mortal refers to what we can understand, what we can comprehend, the actual, let's say, world we can see around. And immortal refers to concepts such as, oh, this is a spoiler, contradiction, coexistence, generally things that are really, really hard to grasp. The law of, what's it called? Possibilities, the law of possibilities, right? Generally things that are outside our realm of control and comprehension. That's what I mean. So that's what the power of faith would influence. For example, an aspect of the, let's say, immortal realm would be the laws of nature. Sure, we can understand them, like rain is wet, okay, it rains because this and this and this, but we can't control them theoretically. Theoretically, of course, we've already managed to we don't really control the weather, but we can create a bit of it. Still, we're very, very far away from actually controlling the weather, or that's what at least has been revealed to us. Anyway, so I think I have that, so I'm not gonna die. But yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, um, so, right. Um, so essentially, the power of faith could change those things. If enough people not just believed, but truly lived their lives thinking that the sky is red, it could theoretically become red. It's not just that we would think it is and we would live our lives according to it. So, sure, it could directly become reality. That's where things get very, very theoretical. Because this is obviously not something we can prove. Even if this was true, we wouldn't know because, like, it would become real, so we don't know. Very, very simple. Um, yeah. So, that's about it, really. There's nothing else to do to mention other than just give examples of potential things that could happen with the power of faith. But that's kind of meaningless, right? This is not something we can prove, as I said. But it's just a very, very interesting thought, because since thinking about something, like as I mentioned earlier, since thinking about something can influence your reality, believing about something, if enough people believe about something, believe in something, whatever, can directly influence our mortal reality. It could be, it would make sense that if enough people truly believed in something and lived their life according to it, could actually directly change the immortal realm. It's a very, very interesting thought. I personally believe that this could actually be true, and this is obviously a reason as to why I'm even mentioning it. Because I truly believe humans have that kind of potential. And obviously, it would be much, much more interesting if that's actually, if that were to actually be true. Anyways, that's about it. If I have something else to add, I'll add it in the Discord channel. That's all from me. It was a very, very quick discussion with myself. But yeah, that's about it. Goodbye.